Yo, what up, YouTube? Crash Wilcox, and today, kind of kicking off a new series, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be calling it. It is going to be whatever the title is that you clicked on. That's what I'm going to call it. So, the point of this series of videos is going to be to largely cover the pre-built market. You know, starting from like the custom pre-builders to, used and budget pre-builds. And then in addition to that, we'll also just cover, some used parts and things like that I think are of good value. And all of the used parts and stuff like that, I'll try to have all the links down in the description for you guys to go and check those out if you're interested. But the reason for this video is, I go through my Facebook, feeds and stuff and some of the groups that I follow. And, it seems like every week or month or so, you'll see a couple of questions that are posed in these PC groups. And it always goes the same way. Some guy gets on there and says, hey, I'm in the market for a new computer. I'm looking for a good pre-built. Does anybody have any recommendations? And then sure enough, the first 100 comments are, you're an idiot. You should build your own computer. You'll save money and it's easy. So I thought, the reason somebody's asking the question about what's a good pre-built is because they want a pre-built. Can you save money building your own computer? Sure, you can save money. And is it easy? For some, it's easy, but not for everybody. So I wanted to make this video kind of laying out my recommendations for certain pre-builts and then kind of a theoretical underpinning, I guess, for what you should look for in pre-built computers. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. This is not an exhaustive list. Like I said, we're going to be doing this every month, kind of hitting on different manufacturers, different pre-builts and stuff like that. So we'll only be covering a handful of topics. I don't want these to be 2-hour-long videos. I ramble enough as it is. So we're going to try to keep this short and sweet. We'll have a couple of recommendations. They'll be in the description. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then hit that bell notification. So every month when these come out, I'm going to try to have them out on the first of the month, and you won't miss any. And then if you want more recommendations than this, if you want to jump on, become a patron, I'm going to be having weekly kind of lists of everything kind of related to a computer. If it can happen on a computer and I find a good deal on it or a good value, I'm going to throw it in there. So that's what we're going to do. So to kick this thing off, we're going to start with the pre-built, the custom pre-builts, and probably start with the big dog, in my opinion, and just look at this one. So right here, we're going to start with Alienware. Right here, we're looking at the Alienware Aurora R9. So the reason I decided to go with this, because in my opinion, if you are looking at a custom pre-built computer, I think that you should lean more towards the high end than the low end. So if you look at this computer here, we have an i9 9900K. It's got a 2080 Super, 32 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte boot drive, and a 2 terabyte hard drive. And all this for $2,600. So now you are going to pay a little bit more. Like you could probably build this computer with those components for less. And also, especially if you went into some of the used markets and stuff like that, you could definitely build it for less. But I don't necessarily think that this is a bad value for everybody. And I want to touch on why I don't think this is a bad value. So I won't say bad value. I'll say not a bad decision if you were to go with this. So, everybody's situation is different. You may be a person that has more money than time. You might have plenty of money laying around, and spending a few $100 extra or so on a computer isn't going to really affect you all that much. But what would affect you is having to spend 2 to 3 days of your own time building a computer, getting it up and running, troubleshooting it if there's issues. So it's easier for you to spend a couple $100 extra on a computer like this Alienware than it would be for you to go out and search online for parts and all that sort of stuff. So with that being kind of the mindset of why you're looking at a pre-built and why I would recommend going to the high end. So if you're going to spend a couple $100 extra, it is best, in my opinion, to get a computer that you're going to be absolutely satisfied with. So while this might be a little bit pricey, what you're getting for it is an amazing CPU, a great GPU, tons of RAM, a good boot drive, plenty of hard drive space to store all your stuff on. And then also you're getting a unique case, which could be important to you. You obviously can't buy an Alienware case and just building it on your own. So if you like the way that look, I personally do like the way this looks. So that's a value there. It also arrives to your door ready to go. You plug it in, turn it on, and it's working. That's a benefit because it's saving you time. And then also you get the peace of mind knowing that if by chance it doesn't work for whatever reason, it comes with a warranty. So, and you don't have to worry about sifting through 18 different components and sending back individual things. You just say, hey man, it doesn't work. I want it fixed. And they fix it. So for those 3 issues alone, you have to decide on your own if that's worth, $100, $200, whatever it happens to be that this, may cost you over the price of the component. So, time is money and you're saving time here. So I think in that vein, it's worth it on the high end. So if you go to the low end, we have here the Dell G5 gaming desktop, $700. And what you get for $700 here is an i3-9100, which is a 4-core, 4-thread processor, which if that is not already outdated, it is very quickly becoming outdated. It comes with a 1660 Super, which is a perfectly fine GPU for 1080p gaming. Nothing wrong there. But 8 gigs of RAM and slow RAM at that, 2400 megahertz, is not cool. And then a 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive. So my thought process for this, you pay $2,600 for the top of the line Aurora R9 or whatever that was. You're going to be happy with what you have, even if you realize you paid a little bit extra money for it. On the low end, if I spent $700 on this computer, I would not be happy with the end result. I would still feel like I got sort of taken, because this is a computer that, unless you are just playing like the easiest of free-to-play titles, esports titles, and I don't think you're going to be satisfied with the result at the end of the day. So that would be my thought process why you would want to lean maybe more towards that high end. Now, this isn't the case in every respect. And again, throughout the months, we will be covering different custom builders. So one custom builder that I would go with on more of the low end, and I consider anything kind of $1,000 or less the low end. So moving on to Nzxt. And if you come into Nzxt, they make it wonderfully simple if you want to get a custom pre-built. So you just come to their starter PC, and I clicked on the starter PC plus, and this is a $1,000 computer. You can kind of see the little picture right here. Nice looking computer. But what you get for $1,000, at least on the Nzxt side of things, is an i5-9400F, which no integrated graphics there and not unlocked and overclockable, but it's still a 6-core CPU, so better than that 4-core from the Dell side. You get a 1660 Ti, which is a better graphics card than the 1660 Super. You get 32 gigs of 3200 megahertz RAM, so you get double the RAM and faster speeds. And then you also get a 1 terabyte Intel 660p storage drive, which is kind of your boot drive in this case, but kind of your all-encompassing storage as it shows up to your house. But Intel 660p is a wonderful drive. If you can see, I don't know if you can see on my shelf over here, I've used plenty of Intel 660ps in computers, and they work wonderfully. So for just, what is that, $300 extra that you're paying, you get 2 extra cores on the CPU, you get a better GPU, double the RAM, faster RAM, and you're exchanging a mechanical hard drive for a great M.2 NVMe boot drive. You still get the warranty, you still get it delivered to your house, ready to work as soon as you plug it in. So if you are going on the low end of things, I would look towards the Nzxt build. So the starter PC, I think, is a good value for $1,000. So those are the two custom builders that we're going to look at in this episode. The next one we're going to move on to is still a pre-built, but I'm considering them sort of the big box pre-builts. So that's going to be over here on Amazon, and that's the Skytech Azure gaming computer. So this one's $1,419, and what you get for that is a Ryzen 5 3600, which is a wonderful CPU, 6 cores, 12 threads, should last you for years to come without being a limitation. A 2070 Super, which is a fantastic graphics card. Again, that will last you for years to come without any limitation. 1080p, 1440p, even 4K gaming, for certain titles. You get the 1 terabyte NVMe boot drive, which is great. 16 gigs of 3000 megahertz RAM, so still good, fast RAM. Comes with Wi-Fi, which is nice. So all in all, I think this is a very good computer. Again, might it be overpriced slightly? I don't know if that's a terribly bad value, though, for this computer. But the reason I would think this is a good computer is much like with the Alienware Aurora R9, you want a computer that you're going to be satisfied with when you use it. So I would rather pay $1,420, which may be slightly higher than the build it yourself price, but you're not going to be, I don't feel like with this computer, you'd be, upset about the performance that you're getting. So this computer, you plug it in, you turn it on, you're going to be gaming. It's going to be awesome. And even down here, it guarantees you there's no bloatware. So what could be wrong? But with that, you still get the warranty. I mean, I personally like the way the case looks. I'm into the dark colors and stuff like that. So I think it looks nice. I think it's a good value for the money. All the components in there seem to suggest that it's a good value. It's a good computer. Again, might it be overpriced? Slightly. But you're still going to have a good experience with this computer, and it's going to last you for years. And I think that's the main thing that you want to look for in a custom pre-built. You don't want to spend a bunch of money to get a computer that you're going to be disappointed with in 6 months, a year, or anything like that. So you won't be with this computer. It'll be great. I'll have it linked down below. I would recommend this computer. So then moving on from the custom pre-builders and kind of the big box pre-builders into the used PC market. So before we jump into the used PC market, something to keep in mind is everybody that's selling a used PC thinks you're a moron. They think that the people they're selling to are rich idiots, apparently. So you have to know that going in, that when you look at these used computers, for the most part, they're going to assume that you don't know anything about computers and that all they have to say is like, hey, super fast, 100 FPS, 4K. And you'll just be like, oh, okay, cool. This, FX 8350 or whatever the CPU is top of the line. That's what they're thinking. So you have to know that going in. And when you see the initial offer price, don't take that at face value. The best thing about used PCs and the used component market is largely you have the opportunity to talk to the people through messages and stuff like that. So if you're a good haggler, which you should be, or you should try to bone up on it, is you can sort of haggle your price down a little bit. So with that being kind of the groundwork, we'll come in here into the used market here on Mercari. And the first one we're going to look at is this AMD gaming PC for $1,060. So what you get here for this used PC, you get a Ryzen 5 3600, again, wonderful processor. You get a B450 motherboard, probably not top of the line, but it's still a B450, not bad. You get the 16 gigs of 3200 megahertz RAM, which is nice. You get a SATA M.2 hard drive, which in this one that's the only hard drive it's listed here. So 500 gigs is sort of a limitation, but it's enough to have your operating system, maybe a game or two, kind of your main games and then some programs. So you can run with that for a little bit. You're not going to fill it up immediately. A 450 watt power supply is fine for what's in this computer. It's not going to be a big deal. The Nzxt case is a good case. If you like the look of it, I'm okay with it. And you also get an RTX 2060 Super. So that's a great graphics card. And all that for $1,060, even if that was the price of the computer, or if that's what you pay for it is asking price, I think that's a good value for your money. You know, again, that's a computer that you're not going to necessarily be disappointed with for a year, 2 years. And it does give you room to upgrade down the road if you need to. You can add an extra hard drive in if you need to. You could throw in, you know, extra RAM if you needed to down the road. So it's really not going to limit you. The CPU and the GPU are going to be good for a couple of years, so you don't have to worry about those. And you get the ray tracing. You can game at, you know, 1080p high detail for years on this graphics card CPU. You can do 1440p for the immediate future. I would say the next year or two, you'll be fine there. And then even if you were playing free-to-play or esports games, you know, you could be on 4K and it wouldn't be a big deal with this. I'll try to have a link down in the description to a video showing basically an RX 580, which is not even nearly as good of a graphics card as this, gaming at 4K on the free-to-play title. So you can see that, yeah, in fact, you can get some good gaming out of this. But this is a good computer. I would recommend this as he says it's new. You got to take his word for it. I would assume that would be used when it shows up. So anything that I'm buying on Mercari or eBay or that sort of thing that's not coming from like a reputable company, I'm just going to assume it's used. But this is a good product. I would recommend this. And the dude swears he's been an IT professional for over 8 years. So what could go wrong? But this is a good computer. The next one I would look at here in Mercari as well, on a little bit lower end of the spectrum, $750. So this one right here, what you get for $750 is an RX 580, like we just talked about. You can game in 4K on that. But generally, I would consider that a middle to upper tier, like not upper tier, but mid-range kind of 1080p gaming. You can still game on high detail 1080p, perfectly fine there. Ryzen 5 3600, again, wonderful processor. 16 gigs at 3200 megahertz RAM. You get the 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive, but you do get a 120 gig SSD as a boot drive. So it's a little small, but it's better than nothing. So, and then the Fantex case, 500 watt power supply, those are fine. No big deals there. So for $750, again, I don't feel like you would think you were kind of like getting taken on this. Good CPU, good GPU, good boot or a boot drive that's going to be a little bit faster. You got some hard drive storage, and much like the previous computer that was $1,060, this one's $750. You do have the opportunity to ask questions in here, and I believe if you download the Mercari app, you can even make lower offers on here. So you may be able to offer this guy a little bit less than $750 or way less, depending on how good of a haggler you are, and get a good deal on a good computer. So this is another recommendation I would make as far as if you're looking for a used PC. The last one here is on the ultra low end of the spectrum. So this one right here, $325 on eBay. You can get what they call as a custom built starter gaming PC. So I would not personally consider this a gaming PC, though you can probably game on it on those, you know, free to play esports games, maybe medium settings or something to that effect. You might be able to get some decent gaming out of it. But I would consider this more of like if you have a young kid that is homeschooling now and needs something to do some assignments on, maybe a parent who just wants a new computer to, you know, email, YouTube, normal internet surfing. I think this is a good option. So this comes with a Ryzen 3 2200G, which is a 4-core APU, so it has integrated graphics in it. B450 motherboard. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, and it's got a 240 gig SSD. So not a lot of hard drive space, but again, if it's just like a homeschool computer or something for somebody who's only saving, documents and stuff like that, that's plenty of hard drive space. But it also does give you, again, some room to grow in there. So since it does have a 240 gig SSD, you could always throw in, a cheap $20, $30 mechanical hard drive for some backup storage in there. You could throw extra RAM in there if you wanted to. And then also, it's not a great CPU, but it's not it's not an awful CPU either. So you could, buy a cheap dedicated graphics card, upgrade that a little bit as well. But for $325, it's hard to put together a good computer for $325, even if, you're combing the used markets and all that sort of stuff. So, and it comes with a free Wi-Fi adapter, which is a nice touch, I guess, if you want to get some Wi-Fi. So I don't think, and this does give you the option to make an offer as well. So you could potentially, come in a little bit lower than $325. So I would feel like if you're just looking for a simple home computer that you can surf the internet on, not a bad option for $300, in my opinion. So those are all of the pre-builts that we're going to go through. So the next thing we're going to touch on is just a few individual components, and then we'll be wrapping this thing up for the month. All right, so now that we're done with the pre-builts, moving into the used parts, I'm only going to touch on 2, I think, in this video. But again, come on over to the Patreon page. I'll have lists of more components, more software, and all that sort of stuff that I find every week. So the first one I'm going to touch on here back on Mercari, and this is an RTX 2060 graphics card. So again, they're going to try to charge you more than you should pay for it. So if you can do some haggling and maybe get this down below $300, I think that's a good value for a RTX 2060. And the reason I would consider this, one of the things people get concerned about, especially when they're buying, individual components and GPUs specifically, is like, oh, was it, used for crypto mining? You still hear that a lot, which, is kind of silly to me. But I feel like you can be pretty confident that if it's an RTX graphics card or like a 5700 or 5700 XT, like one of those newer cards, you're probably safe to assume it wasn't used in a crypto mining rig. It was just a dude using it to game on, probably upgraded or whatever happened, and now they're selling it. So right here, a 2060, again, if you can get it for under 300, maybe ask a question, do some haggling, and you can get a pretty good deal for it, hopefully. But get your ray tracing. 2060 is still a good graphics card for 1080p, some 1440p gaming. It'll be a good value. Obviously this fits a specific rig because of the style of card. So you have to weigh that. But more of the theory of why this would be a good buy, in my opinion, is, like I said, an RTX card has probably not been used for very long. It's not been most likely abused. So not a bad card. You might be able to squeeze out a better value. They do offer free shipping as well. So again, if you can get that for under $300, I think that'd be a pretty decent deal. And then the next one and the last one we're going to touch on right here, we have a Threadripper 2950X. So 16 core, 32 thread, high-end desktop processor. Obviously not for everybody, but this is amongst the cheapest 16 core CPUs you're going to find. And I did just pull up PC Part Picker, so you could see that the going price as of Amazon right now for the 2950X is $804. So again, he accepts offers. So if you could maybe haggle him down to 500 or so for a 16 core, if you're into that high-end desktop, I would think this is a pretty good buy. So, if I was in the market for a computer like that, I have had and owned and used CPUs before and never had an issue with it. And again, you can be, fairly confident that someone that's buying this high end of a processor is, I would not assume necessarily that this was going to be overly abused. So again, if you could squeeze it out for, around that $500 mark, I mean, even the price now, $800 and some dollars, is expensive for a 2950, but I've never seen them really run lower than $650. So even at that, getting $150 off is a pretty good value. So those would be my two individual component recommendations. Again, hit the bell notification. I will have more of these coming out. And if you guys care to see any other videos, like what not to buy, like what kind of used stuff you should avoid, or maybe laptop, stuff like that, let me know in the comments section. I don't want to make videos that nobody wants to watch, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, man, again, please like and subscribe. I'd certainly appreciate it. But that's it. God bless.